Good morning. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate coming here into this ISOG forum. And just like to discuss things that are what's coming new inside the data center, inside of these particular next generation applications that we're seeing. Right? So I just want to play first this particular video before I start my presentation. So
Artificial intelligence is transforming every industry, from life-saving healthcare to intelligent manufacturing. Cisco and NVIDIA technologies are powering this revolution, but deploying AI at scale securely presents its challenges. Traditional AI deployments are complex, costly, and slow. Integrating diverse components, ensuring compatibility, and maintaining robust security can severely delay your AI initiatives. Customers need to deploy AI everywhere, with less complexity, risk, and cost, and a faster path to value. Introducing Cisco AI Pods, the foundational building block for the Cisco Secure AI Factory with NVIDIA. We provide a simpler, flexible infrastructure powered by innovative integrated technology. Cisco AI Pods help customers escape integration hurdles with a pre-validated architecture, combining NVIDIA AI enterprise software, container orchestration platforms, best-in-class compute, networking, and data platforms. Accelerate the full AI lifecycle, from edge inference and RAG to massive-scale model training. Simplify operations with centralized management from Cisco Intersight and achieve consistent, predictable results. Secure the entire AI stack with infrastructure, workload, and application security inherent to Cisco validated designs. The future of AI demands a simple, scalable, and secure foundation. Cisco AI Pods deliver it all. Are you ready to transform your AI operation? Visit cisco.com to learn more.
all right. Thank you for that. So before, these are the new workloads that are coming in, right? AI is going to be everywhere, right? So what we're really looking into is how we can actually secure these AI applications. How can we cope up with the increase of pressure in our network and all these things that we're seeing, right? So ano ba yung mga kailangan natin gawin? So, or ano ba yung mga pain points na nakikita natin sa buhay natin? So you might be doing in terms, you guys are all security experts, and you're all challenged in terms of doing this particular segmentation. So some of you guys are looking into how will I be able to segment my workload so that it will be secured and it's not going to go out. And when there's an attack, there's only going to be that environment, right? Another thing is, the problem with that one is environments keep changing. Everything is going to be very dynamic. Everything is going to be and sometimes it's going to be inconsistent. Everything actually moves from, your application could be on-prem, your application could be on the public cloud, or they can switch between together, especially in a distributed environment. The environments always keep changing. AI models right now, if you look into Hugging Face, it's always going to be increasing. From dati konti lang yan, mga 300s, now looking at 10,000 models that we're seeing. All of these going to be validated, and most of your developers might be inserting these models into your workloads already. Another thing is patching. Who wants to do patching in your data center? Right? Ito yung mga lagi tayong kinakabahan pag ginagawa usually. Right? Will it break my environment? Will I lose access to my application? Aside from patching, updating security network rules. Okay? When I update my security rules, will it break the application? Usually when I talk to customers, may mga ACL sila, hindi na nila kilala kung sino yung gumagamit. Because they don't want to touch it because it feels like it's going to break, it might break something, right? So we need to be able to make sure that things are going properly. And why do we need to patch? CVEs is always going to appear. There's not 100%, there is no 100% secured product. And especially if it's going to be very rampant in your organization, it will always be attacked, right? So we need to be always updated. We need to always keep up with these particular CVE patches. Problem is, which patch should I do first, right? Another thing is change is actually risky. It's very expensive. Change could actually make my downtime. Firmware updates being delayed, policy changes are behind, and these zero-day attacks, we need to always to keep up to date on these things. Pero napakahirap gawin ito. Right? Kanina may mga nagsabi about zero attacks. We need to go to that, we need to shift left in terms of how we secured our infrastructure. We need to be very, very proactive in securing that application, but it's always going to be there. There's zero-day attacks will always happen. There will always be zero-day attacks. That's the thing that's going to be constant. Okay? So how do we secure workloads right now, especially from an AI era? Right? What we're going to be seeing is we need to actually refresh that infrastructure that we're seeing, architecture that we see. Your workloads will all could be in a public cloud, could be in a private cloud, and it's going to be a mixture of workloads. Physical servers, virtualized environment, Kubernetes environment, containers, and all these things. We need to be able to get a platform to be able to ensure that all these are being secured. Why do we need a platform? So that we don't need to go for one dashboard to another dashboard or something that are disconnected security solutions so that we can actually protect these environments. We need to actually have that consistency across these policies so that it's going to be easier for us. And we need to be able to help use AI as well. Narinig nyo kanina that the attackers are also using AI, and we need AI actually to actually defend these things, right? So AI native security should be there. We need to be able to protect against distributed exploit protection as well, and zone segmentations. We need to be always segment that environment. All of these need some feedback across telemetry. We need to have full visibility across these environments that we're looking into, right? We cannot secure something that we cannot see. We cannot make sure that it is up to date. We cannot make sure that the business is always up and running if we cannot see. And if we are able to have telemetry across all these devices, we are going to be able to make faster mean time to repair or faster mean time to resolution. Because we know where the problem is, wherever it is, be it on-prem, be it on the public cloud, or could be on the connectivity that we're seeing, that we're using, right? It's not always that we own the equipment. You guys could also, we're already looking into the ISPs, right? How can we actually monitor the ISP? How can we monitor APIs in our environment that they're going to be secured, right? Or they're up and running. Because when you're looking at security, we're also going to be looking at security uptime as well, application uptime. Yun naman talaga ang pinaka-importante sa atin dito. Make sure that the applications are up and running consistently wherever they are, that is going to be secured, that our customers are going to be happy for it. Right? You've heard about software-defined infrastructure. It's been the buzzword since 2014, 2015 that we're looking into. What if we can apply that in our security portfolio, software-defined security perspective, where we can put in that security options wherever it is, be it on public cloud, be it on AWS, Azure, or Google, or whatever public cloud provider that you're looking into, on a cloud-native services, could be on-prem, or a private cloud perspective, your VMs, your bare metals, your Kubernetes layer. We can put in security layer as well on the switches, on the firewall perspective. We can place security wherever you need it. Because we need to actually create a net on that on our entire data center, on our applications, so that we will all be protected, right? So we developed, Cisco, I just want to introduce this particular innovation that we're doing, right? You've heard about Cisco as that switching company that provides all this telemetry, all this connectivity that you're using. We've actually partnered with AMD. This is one of the newest companies that we're seeing, and a new innovation that you guys might want to be interested on. Right? It's what they actually developed is what they call the data processing unit, wherein it's going to be very feature-rich for data services. Right? Each CPU, each mga processing unit natin would have some specialization. This specialization ng AMD is actually looking into data processing unit, wherein it gives us capability to have distributed security. That's very good for distributed security, be able to give out layer 4 protection, data, denial of services protection. Yan yung ginagamit niyan. So what happens if we combine that security perspective as well as the networking perspective, right? So what we're envisioning is that your public cloud and your private cloud, any of your domains, be it on campus, be it on your security, data center or networking, would be able to be enforced with security where it needs it. So we can actually deploy your end system enforcers. Kung ano mang workload yan, Linux workloads, Kubernetes modes, soon mid-nose din, pwede na rin. And then, what if it's not able to be detected, right? Usually mga agents may mga operating systems that are requiring it. If we cannot put any agents on that, what if we can have a network-based enforcer? All of our traffic will go, all the traffic in our data center of all our application goes through the switches, goes through the routers. What if we embed those security devices inside that network, on the network itself, so that we can be as close as possible to your environment? So mangyayari dyan, when we have these things, particular tool, imagine then as well that we can actually update the entire infrastructure, that entire workload policy, kung saan man sila, be it on a Kubernetes, be it on a bare metal, be it on the switches, to be able to test it as well. Why do we need to test it and how we test it? Imagine mo meron kang separate network for testing. Very expensive. Kailangan kong merong dev or UAT. But what we're going to be doing is utilizing AI, use a digital twin so that your firmware and policy changes are tested first before it gets deployed in your environment. Next, we can actually have that technical design, security review, and change request. Of course, we don't want, everything needs to have a human interaction, human touch. Business approval is needed, especially for criticality. So we can actually review, AI system would evaluate all these particular changes so that you can be sure that it is going to be deployed correctly, right? So we can actually have this confidence score, right? Now, there's less testing that is required. We've already tested that you can deploy this at hitless deployment as well. So when we merge these two technologies together, at pwede natin ilagay ito sa mga environments natin that we can, so we can do it on a cloud edge, we can do it on a co-locations, we can do this on a on-ramp perspective. So parang mas mapapadali natin yung buhay natin dito. Right? So we can actually simplify. You could be having management layers of firewalls that are very expensive. 5 gig, 10 gig, 80 gig firewall, right? When we are able to infuse that security and switching capabilities, you can actually have simplified that environment further. Imagine that you can have a throughput of an 800 gig throughput of security on a price of on that switch. Kung anong pwede natin gawin, we further simplify your environment. Before you're deploying firewalls here, now we can simplify that out. When we are able to fuse together the networking and security perspective. And especially, one thing that we need to do is to make sure that whatever you update, be it on the firmware, be it on the policy, you can always have that shadow data plane na ina-update natin. So remember the A/B testing or canary the way to deploy things? We can also do these things. It's tested against live production traffic so that you can actually make sure that your application is still up and running even if you applied your deployment, your policy. Right. So these are the things that we are seeing. We can look into ways how we can further simplify top of rack, segment migrations, connectivity of multiple data centers, protecting your cloud edge locations. All of this can be fused into that environment. So bakit natin kailangan ito? Segmentation. Because our applications keeps on changing, right? You need to be able to fill the changes. You need to be able to make sure that the application is always up to date. That behavior needs to be recorded so that we can look into how we can secure these things. So if you can actually incorporate AI in that particular perspective so that it knows the behavior of the application, be it kung ano yung paano siya does the connectivity, database, analytics, or front end, we'll be able to protect it, and then we will be able to do recommendations The AI would help us to do recommendations, to do database ba? Bakit siya kumukonect sa internet ngayon? Dapat denied yan. Because baka napasukan na siya ng alerts. Then we can actually do these particular permits and all these recommendations that you would need to apply. Another thing is we can update the policies on a more stricter environment. Microsegmentations, dun lang sa applications na yun, dun lang sa application or dun lang sa workspace na yun, pwede nating update. Another thing that we're looking into, 10 seconds, so dami ng security alerts, we can help, we need to be able to have an assistance, ano yung kailangan i-prioritize, right? Prioritization in terms of what needs to be deployed, what needs to be done, what needs to be looked into, and ang pinaka-importante, we need to be able to have an effectiveness score on that particular environment. So what we're trying to do is be able to, what's next generation is what the fusage of, or the combination of your network and security that is going to be highly distributed in that particular environment to keep up to date in your in your applications. All right. So if you can have more conversations on this, you can visit our booth. We have Trends as our partner there. Feel free to drop by so that we can have more conversations. With that, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Alviar, for that thought-provoking presentation. At ito na ang ating tanong with the rest of the presenters. The question is, aside from the presentation earlier, give us a major takeaway on how we can prime for cyber defense in our own ways at home.
At home, one of the main recommendations from my family members, what I usually recommend my family members, I'd actually subscribe into, get a password manager. Get a password manager. Why? We don't want to reuse passwords on multiple applications. Kailangan strong yung apps, strong applications. Password managers keep it updated, and siya na bahala gumawa ng password. I don't even know any of my passwords right now because it's like uppercase, lowercase, special characters and all these things.
Right. I have a password manager, and it's the same across all my devices because you just use the password manager and it's synced with all the devices. Is there a danger to that because it's always syncing?
Well, you have to select which kind of password manager you're using that will have some offline and online capabilities, as well as when I evaluated my password manager, how would I be able to safeguard those things as well? Okay, and use two-factor authentication as my master password, right? So it's the same way that you protect your own accounts before. Kaso nga, ang nagiging problem lang is pag na-hack yung isang account. That's what we're trying to look into.
Yeah.
So deploy multi-factor authentications on that password manager, on that master password. You have to have that multi-factor first, and then be able to look into it as well.
Okay, now let's take a look at the visual evaluation of Mr. Alviar. We need to shift left in terms of how we secure our infrastructure. Challenges. Segmentation is challenging. Patching is hard. Change is risky. Manage globally, enforce locally. Cloud management, AI native security, workload and network enforcement points. Public cloud, private cloud security. Priming for cyber defense. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Alviar.
Thank you.
Tomorrow has come today. From cryptocurrencies to the metaverse, digitalization is consuming our world at a velocity few could have imagined. Automation, IoT, AI, with so many technology options and endless possible compositions of these technologies, you won't find the answer in a Google search. For 30 years, Trends has been at the forefront of technological transformation, discovering what works and what doesn't. We have 30 years of journeying together with our clients. Long nights discovering what's important for them and letting that define their digital transformation. Most importantly, we have 30 years of learning and affirming that we are all better together. So what's right for you in this digital age? Let's discover it together towards digital transformation and beyond.